Inspire me to be the highest me, mommy motivation. This time around, there was just something different, and I'm determined to hold on to this lesson. What lesson, you ask? The mask on first lesson. Welcome to Inspire Me Mondays. I am Zee, and in this series, I share lessons in faith, family, and fulfillment. I want to welcome you all here. If you are new to the channel, thanks for coming in. I hope that you find some inspiration here, and that if you choose to like, share, and subscribe, and be sure to click the notification bell for future updates. So, I have been married for 11 years, and for 10 of those years, I have gotten my family, along with my husband's family, together one time a year under one roof to have a celebratory time. We're talking at least 20 people, usually more, and a good bit of them stay with me in my house for a number of days. And you can imagine as a mom that this will require planning, preparation, use of resources, time, great attention. And for those years that I have done this, I would have to say I can pinpoint when I have reached a point where I have felt like, I'm ready for everybody to go. I really do enjoy this time. I mean, it's so precious to me. But there's typically a time where I feel like, okay, I'm ready to get on with it, to get back into the mode of my usual normacy. And this year I just decided to do something different. And I was able to reflect, and I spent some time talking it over, even with my mom, on why I did not feel that way this year. And I'd like to share that with you today. You see, usually when I'm getting everything together, I will clean the house from top to bottom, get everything prepared, new linens and sheets and towels washed and clean, the whole gamut. You know, moms, how to dress everything up and make everybody else comfortable. And usually at the end of the night, once the family has all arrived and I'm retiring at the end of a day, I'm coming into a room that does not look like the rest of my house. It's usually stuff strewn everywhere. My bathroom has all products all over the sink. My closet, I can see shoes and barely get around them. Papers are everywhere for maybe some mail that I left behind that I didn't get to, because I was determined to make everybody else comfortable. And that's important to me. But guess what? I've done that at the point of being frustrated and even a bit resentful that I don't come to a place of peace in my own little circle, sphere of my bedroom, because everybody else is, I'm sure, resting peacefully. But this year, I did it differently. I started out by taking care of my sanctuary, the place where I go to get the peace that I need and the strength and just the comfort of being in my own space. I took care of that space first. I went and I cleaned that space first. I made sure that I lay down in my own bed every night and was able to woosah, to breathe out and to feel a sense of relief every day. And I could tell the difference. You know, I took my kids this week to a fire station, and I was fascinated by what I learned there. And I hope you'll stay with me because it goes really well with what I'm going to say. When I went to the fire station, I got to witness a firefighter talk about the protective gear that firefighters have to wear. And one piece of that gear is the mask, self-contained breathing apparatus. A mask that is attached to a hose that then is attached to a tank that goes on their back to ensure that they're able to breathe before they go out and have to contend with a fire or whatever, smoke or whatever they may have to deal with in an emergency. By putting on this protective gear, they have to make sure that every part of their body is completely covered. Okay, so from their headgear, that their ears are not out, to making sure the mask is placed directly where it needs to be so that the air can get in, to the two-fold gear that they're wearing, the layers of fabric to protect against any burning and any heat, okay? Everything has to cover them. They have 2 minutes to put this mask and this equipment on. And you would think that in this 2 minutes, they're probably thinking about this thing that they are getting ready to have to face that they don't know about. And they want to make sure that they're able to save and remedy a situation very quickly. But guess what? First, they have to make sure they're covered, because if they go in and they don't have the full coverage, they put themselves at risk. And then if they're at risk, what capacity do they have to help somebody else? There is a lesson in this, that we don't know what we'll have to contend with each and every day. having children alone brings with it the question mark of what we don't know about what may happen with them, from falls and bruises and scrapes to having to deal with something at school to not knowing if they're going to wake up sick or if you're going to wake up sick. So we have to make sure that our mask is on first, that we're fully covered. Our minds are covered. Our well-being is covered. What we put in and take in, our energy is covered. Our thinking is covered. Our bodies, our physical well-being covered, so that we have the best ability to contend with whatever the day might bring. The second thing putting on your mask first ensures is that you know your capacity. You know, as moms, I've often said that we have the DNA of an Energizer bunny. We know how to keep going and going and going. And I think somewhere along the way, it's become our norm to go. Just keep going. But guess what? The longer you do something, the more it becomes your norm. So even when you're operating in dysfunction at your lowest level, you may not realize it because this has been your norm. So I love the fact that when I watched this firefighter, he didn't rely on his mind to tell him when that mask has run out of oxygen. Putting on the mask first gives him the understanding of when he's at capacity, because there is a system, an LED light that is set up in his equipment to let him know by it turning green, he's at full. When it gets to be an amber color, it's winding down. At red, he's at depletion. There's no more oxygen. He's got to call in for relief. Somebody else who's got a full tank to go in and help. As moms, there's much to be gained from that, because when we're operating in our day-to-day, sometimes we don't know what our depletion is, what our capacity is. But guess what? By us practicing putting on our mask first, then we come to understand our limitations. We come to understand those things that we got to take care of before we do anything else. Eating a well-balanced meal, for example. Making sure we get adequate rest the night before we wake up. Whatever it may be for you. Recognizing that having your mask on is critical to recognizing your capacity when you put yours on first. And what I love about it, they also have a strap that lets them see and monitor their own pressure system so that they can see when they are getting low. And so what I love about these firefighters is that they didn't learn to put on this mask day one. They have been practicing every day to prepare for when the emergency is going to come. And the way that we make a normalcy out of putting on our mask first is to do it on a daily basis, so that when we get to the emergency, when we get to the hospital and the bruise and the breaks and the sprains, when we get to our own being sick and have to deal with our own selves or our child going through a struggle, that we already know how to kick in gear on having our mask in its place to know what we can do and can't do in that moment to be able to attend to our children and anybody else that is in our fold. So I think it's so important for us to practice it, that it becomes our habit of doing it, of putting on our mask first to ensure that we know our capacity when we've got to call in for help, when we've got to get that extra relief, that support system, that village, or we got to go to the coffee shop and sit down, or we've got to go and take a walk somewhere, whatever that may be. By us practicing it, then we know how to kick into gear when we need it the most. And finally, by putting on your mask first, it ensures that you heed the alarm. See, firefighters live at the firehouse for at least 24 hours. They sleep in their bunks. And I'm sure when they go to bed, they don't know the next day what they might wake up to. So by practicing it, they hear the alarm and they know how to heed that alarm and to give 2 minutes to putting on that protective gear. They also know that they can't keep their gear by their bed. They can't keep it in a separate place from where they normally leave it, because at any point that alarm could go off and they have to heed the alarm. They have a minimal amount of time to get into gear and do what they have to do to then go out and to save someone else. And this is why we salute our heroes and our sheroes who are out there every day saving lives through their ability to respond on demand. But guess what, mamas? We respond on demand every day. We never know what we're going to wake up to, but we've got to be prepared with our stuff in position to be able to kick into gear when that emergency comes. Whatever the steps are that you have to take to ensure that you're operating at optimum, your optimum best, for you to give out to other people, whoever it may be that you have to respond to daily. That's the alarm. You are already prepared for when that alarm goes off through knowing how to put on your mask first. I hope that next week, because I don't want to make this a super long video, that I can come back and talk to you about how you know, how you recognize that your mask is on first, because it's something that I have worked on practicing deliberately for myself, because I know how much I have to put my hands to every single day. But for now, I just hope to leave you with, again, those 3 ways of ensuring, God, that your mask is on first, that you're covered, mamas, that you know your capacity, and that you're able to heed the alarms, your own body system going off, the warning signs going off, letting you know, hey, I got to retreat. Hey, I got to get something new. Hey, I got to rebuild. Hey, I got to rest. Whatever it might be, to ensure that you're at your best, to be able to be your best for anybody else, especially your children. Guys, I hope you're encouraged today and you've gotten a little bit of something. Please let me know in the comments, what does putting on your mask first mean for you? What does that look like? It can be something very small. Whatever it may be, I hope to hear from you and to converse in the comment section. I do thank you for watching. I hope that you will continue to stay with us for future videos. Have a blessed day. Bye now.
Motivation.